Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our show on Self Achievers, our podcast for bringing in amazing journeys and stories of people who have achieved in their lives something that they always aspired for, have made a niche in their own professional arenas, and have some beautiful sharings to do with us, which will inspire us. So today with me I have a woman entrepreneur, a mother, a daughter, daughter-in-law. She juggles many roles as a woman, but most of all, her new initiative, Dibiaa, which is basically offshoot from a family-owned business that she has created, and where she is engaging a lot of women from the marginalized community to come forward and do the manufacturing of her Dibiaas. So we are going to hear straight from Juhee Jain here from Jaipur about her motivation to start Dibiaa and how did the idea come about. Over to you, Juhee. And thank you so much for being on our show today. I know it's been very hard to convince you to come out and speak and share your journey. So I'm truly very, very thankful to you that you agreed to do this with us.
Thank you, Nidhi, for having me over. It really means a lot. And yes, it's not as easy for me to just come out. I'm a very private person, but all said and done, anything for you. We will. This needs
Thank
to be
you.
out. So about Dibiaa, Dibiaa was conceived when we noticed that there was basically, to give a background, we've been running a printing and packaging company for the last 17 years, and Dibiaa came into existence like in 2021, when we noticed that people are not getting solutions for smaller quantities packaging. So we are into rigid boxes, purely into rigid boxes. Packaging is a very huge gamut of products. We are into rigid boxes, and Dibiaa is rigid boxes का ही part, which is serving jewelers. So jewelers के लिए हमने एक product निकाला है, and especially jewelers who are startups, who are into e-commerce segment, uh, mainly jewelers who are dealing in fancy jewelry or silver jewelry. So उनके लिए ये प्रोडक्ट बहुत apt है, because उनको शिप करना रहता है. They need a very beautiful product, and they need perfect sizes and perfect weight and all of that. And the problem there was they were not getting smaller quantities. जब आपको small quantities नहीं मिलती हैं, तो क्या problems होती है? निधि, आप बता सकते हो? Can you please?
Yeah. So I think what I gauge from you, the institutional gap that you speak about, right? I absolutely love when somebody can identify that gap and immediately find solutions to plug it quickly. And I absolutely am with you that there is this huge gap because there is nobody in the middle who's serving a market for smaller startups and boutique owners who don't want huge quantities, because of course post covid businesses have changed a lot.
Yes.
The way people do business, they don't know what kind of orders they'll get, so they don't want to stock up on packaging which may not get used.
So
And
when they stock up, it obviously occupies a huge space, and
yeah,
also a lot of capital is stuck
capital
in there.
investment, absolutely, yeah. So I think what you've hit is the right a sweet spot in the market where people have these beautiful boxes that they can quickly customize with their own branding and use it for, because I'm into marketing, that's my core. And I know that as beautiful as a product or service needs to be, it's the packaging that really helps to sell the product and create your branding and also the customer retention.
Experience, and also the experience.
Absolutely.
Customer is
Experience.
delighted with the packaging ups. मतलब,
That's the first thing that you encounter when
that's
you
the first
see,
thing.
right? So it's
And
like
mostly सिर्फ jewelry हमेशा gift में ही दी जाती है.
yeah, it's like somebody giving my husband giving me solitaires just like that, or putting
हाँ.
in this beautiful. I remember that there was this beautiful Tiffany box, once he had gifted me, and it's just like I didn't want to open the box because it was so beautifully packaged with that, bow that just enhances the experience so much on its own. So I think that that's a wonderful segment that you've targeted, and I'm really happy that you've taken this initiative to convert this, initiative of yours into a force to drive women to get employed. Because I think I have personally been an advocate, and right now that's really on my agenda, very big with self achievers, that women empowerment has to be at our core if we want to change the shape of our economy, if we really want to change the way our future generations interact with each other, reduce gender equality, then it's very important and imperative for women at all levels to be financially independent and hold their own whether they need to earn or not. That's it doesn't matter. But you need to have that sense of financial independence. So, what are your views on it, Juhee? Why do you think women need to be financially independent? What does it bring to them?
I think women need to be financially independent because they need to be making their decisions uh, independently. And for that, financial independence really helps. Secondly, I think it is also there's a need to feel respected. So that also comes along with financial independence. And yeah, to live a limitless life, I think above everything else, to live a limitless life, you need to be financially independent. So yeah, that's my
I
take.
so agree with you on that. To feel respected, for others to have a sense of, understanding that we also have a purpose. Because nurturing the home comes very naturally to us. We will do that irrespective. But there is also a sense of fulfillment that we need in ourselves, which comes from any kind of professional aspiration, and especially with more and more education coming into women's lives. We're all, no matter, I even see my helpers or domestic helpers, their only goal and mission is to empower every child to be educated, girl or boy. So we have to create that platform for them to be able to then nurture later on as adults to be independent in whatever they choose to do, big or
True.
small. All right, so I have another question for you, that you're a mom, right, of a little boy. And I want to ask you, how do you think motherhood has evolved you as a person? And if there were two characteristics, and I call that like a very personal characteristics that you want to instill in your child, what would they be?
Nidhi, I think motherhood has really changed me as a person because I'm just very conscious of the actions that I do on a daily basis, because I just realize that my child is watching me all the time, and whatever they see the parents do, they are going to become a better or a worse version of them. So 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 I think it has made me a better person, because then when I realize he's watching me and I have a task at hand, and I uh, it is just very inspiring to for me to become a better person. So that is one part of your question. I think the second part of your question was, what are the two qualities that I want my child to have? So one is that I would want him to see joy in simple things in life. You know, the most simplest of things can give one immense joy, and we've forgotten to do that. And that is one thing that I would really like him to imbibe. And also for that, I'm sending him to a school that that connects him to nature, that connects him to himself. He's going to, by the way, he's going to Uday Waldorf, which is in Jaipur, and it's Waldorf is a philosophy. Steiner is a philosophy, and there are Waldorf run schools all over the world. So there is one in Jaipur, thankfully. So I've been sending him to that school, and I'm really happy with it. And the second thing that I really want him to imbibe is empathy. Empathy is very necessary to feel connected to people. To it's a very strong value that I want him to have.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm sure he'll turn out to be a great citizen and a great human being, thanks to parents like both of you, you and Nishant. All right, so gender inequality is a very huge, I would say, it is a huge dysfunctional system in our society, right? And there's a lot of talk going on around it. How do we reduce the gender inequality? People are becoming more conscious about it, whether it's corporates or individuals. So in your view, how can we, from a very grassroots level or through our own workings in our own community, reduce this gender inequality in our society? How do we need to make, what changes do we need to make in our society so that women can come forth and feel that it's okay for me to work?
Yes. So I think to answer that, Nidhi, I think as Indians, we've been it's a very deep conditioning, and this needs to be changed at a thinking level and at the mental level. Like people need to start accepting these things, and it starts with doing things, simple things like men sharing, men women sharing equality in the household chores, um, bringing up the children. So it has to be an equal role. Abhi, the change has begun. I wouldn't say that change has begun in mostly all our families. People have started seeing that it's a equal job. Um, so I think in the next 10 years, ये तो पूरा ही change हो जाएगा. And while we are raising, like I have a son who's 8 year old. He when he sees that अच्छा mama and papa दोनों ही सब तरह का काम कर रहे हैं.
Yeah,
तो वो चेंज वहां से उसके अंदर भी इंस्टिल होने लग गया. So now he is not going to tag a certain role for a
a
certain
woman
gender,
or a
a
man.
woman or
Yeah,
a man. He's not going to say कि ये तो काम मम्मा ही करेगी या ये तो काम पापा ही करेंगे जो हमारे प्रीवियस जनरेशंस ने फेस किया था.
yeah.
तो
So I
ये
think those
चीज
stereotypes are moving out,
yes,
right? And I think it's all starting from home. Yeah, I totally
starting
agree
from home
with
and
you
it
on
has to
this.
start from there.
It has to start from us and start from our teachings to our kids. So, my last question to you is, of course, you're a very successful entrepreneur. You come with very strong educational credentials. You went to a boarding school, Masuri International, was
Yes.
it? Yeah. And so you come and you've lived in Nepal for a good part of your life. Your family belongs from there. Now you're in Jaipur. You've always worked. You've been fiercely independent. Do you ever face self doubt? Do you ever feel, are there any moments when you feel I'm not good enough? What the hell am I doing with my life? Does that ever happen?
Oh Nidhi, all the
So,
time.
how do you overcome it?
Sleeping in time and again. I think there's only one way to overcome that. See, I feel by large, uh, 90-95% of all of us feel like that at some point or
At
the
some
other. So
point,
that's a
yeah,
constant.
yeah.
That's a constant, है ना? For me, I think मेरा वहां से आता है when I get into self doubt when I don't know a particular skill or I feel I can't do it. So what I do is I just go and overcome that. Like for me, doing this talk show was fearful, but I just go and overcome that by just facing it. है ना? Firstly,
Yeah.
secondly, I invest a lot into learnings and self growth. I invest a lot of time and
Hmm.
effort. I do. I take up a lot of coaching. I do a lot of workshops wherein I learn, new things about human behavior, about
Yeah. I saw that on your LinkedIn profile, and that's very admirable. Self growth and you investing your time in it, I think is such an essential ingredient for us to not get stagnant in our life and to
not
have
get
continuous
stagnant. And
growth.
that's the reason why the self doubt, even if it creeps in,
It
it
goes away
does
quietly.
goes away very quickly, very
Yeah.
quickly. It doesn't last, and it doesn't boggle me down, or it doesn't take my days away कि मैं 20 दिन के लिए depressed हूँ. नहीं, it's like momentary. It's like maybe an
Momentary.
hour. So वो
Yeah.
चला जाता.
Juhee, do you read books?
Yes, I do read.
Yeah. So I have a question. What is the last book that you read and a key takeaway that you can share with us from it that you took?
Oh, it's interesting. I have this book by my side, and now this is going to be always there by my side. So I want to show everybody. This is okay. This is What
Oh,
Got
yeah,
Me.
what got you here won't get you there.
You read it?
Amazing book. I started reading it and then I left it somewhere midway, but it's a fantastic read because I read the first 3 chapters of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And ना एक चीज मैंने mark की भी है. So while you're asking me, I will just read it out to you. There are many habits that the author talks about that we need to change, and we need to. So just give me a moment. So here he says, "What's wrong with us?" That's the title, है ना? So one is winning too much. It's everything's just become about, like, I don't know what has social media done to all of us. So
Yeah.
winning too much is the need to win at all costs and in all situations. When it matters, when it doesn't, and when it's totally beside the point. What are we doing in the world and in the society? What are we creating? So much of overwhelm, so much of anxiety.
Yeah.
Nidhi, what do you think?
And so much of feeling dejected if you feel that you've not been able to accomplish what everyone is posting they've accomplished. So suddenly you feel isolated and not good enough.
Not
So I totally feel, I just, a lot of times I have these discussions, especially as a parent, that the next generation is going to have it so hard. Because emotionally they're going to have it very hard. We were grown up very emotionally secured.
True.
There was a lot of nurturing from our parents, from grandparents, because we lived in extended families and joint family systems. The children today, firstly, there are a lot of more nuclear families. So they are very alone. Parents are usually working late hours because that's how the corporate has made its performance gauging as that the longer you spend the number of hours, the more you're recognized for your work. I personally look at that as inefficiency.
Even
That if you couldn't finish your work in 7 or 8 hours, then you're being inefficient. And that's how I've always run my company. That at 6, the locks come on, and I don't care if you weren't able to finish, then tomorrow you bear the consequences of it. But right now you need to leave the room because I need to go back to my house and I need to spend time with, yeah. But I think the peril of people working late hours, not spending time enough, the kids only having access to what they see on social media and believing that's true and real, right? Because they get on it so early, they can't see the difference. They've not read enough to know that that's just a pretense and not the real lives of people. And then suddenly realizing, oh my God, I don't belong here. Imagine if after having gone through so much in our lives and accomplishing in whatever way we did, we still have self-doubts. Imagine what these kids are going to go through when they come into their 30s and 40s. There'll be higher rates of depression, there's going to be higher rates of loneliness, higher rates of disconnection. They won't be able to connect. No friends, no families they can talk to. So imagine that world of loneliness. It scares the hell out of me. And the constant pressure to perform.
Constant pressure to perform.
It is. And I
constant
think
pressure to perform, constant pressure to look good, constant. मतलब there's only pressure.
Only pressure.
Only pressure. क्या खाना खा रहे हो? कैसे दिख रहे हो? कैसे मतलब
yeah. And the fads that come and go, and then they take you with it. And if you're not a part of it, you feel that there's a fear of missing out or not belonging. So you get onto the rat race is becoming so much more and more prevalent now. And it's just not in your work, the rat race. It's everywhere, in education, in your co-curricular activities, in what dresses are you wearing, which parties are you going to, do you have a very happening life versus not. And there are people who are commenting on your lives and deciding whether your life is worth it or not. That is the sad part. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, Juhee, it's been such a pleasure. It's always a pleasure conversing with you. I think you're just such an authentic person. What you speak is what's there in your heart, and every time anybody meets you, you are who you are. There are
Thank
no
you so
guards,
much.
there are no shields, and it's always been a pleasure to interact with you. I want to sincerely thank you for being, one of what should I say, my guinea pigs in the talk show, and for sparing your valuable time with me. I just absolutely love these connections. The time that we can take out as to get to know each other more and get to know a more deeper side of each other rather than just the regular conversations that we have. It gives a lot of insight into what a person believes, holds, their character, and
And it does
it
give
becomes
meaning.
and it becomes a huge inspiration for others who are just hearing you speak, and who can connect with you like a girl next door. And that inspiration comes that, wow, if she could do it, so can I am shy too, I'm an introvert too, but look at her, she's coming on the show and she's created this company and she's trying to do whatever she can. So can I also make that start and try something with my life? So thank you so much for being with me, for being on this show, and for inspiring millions of women who are going to hear this talk and who are probably going to connect with you too. I'm going to put all your details in the bio, so that if anybody wants to connect with you for business propositions, partnerships, or even to get some mentorship from you for something that they've been thinking of doing on similar lines, they can reach out to you.
Yeah, thank you, Nidhi. It really means
Thank
a lot
you.
to have me over, and thanks for all the encouragement for doing this.
You're
Uh, and,
wonderful.
and I too love spending time with you, and there's so much, there's immense learning one can do from you. So thank you so much.